Here's something you don't get every day, a jazz standard written by a Harvard-educated stockbroker. The tune, the very popular ballad Body and Soul, written by Johnny Green. Now, in the end, he quit Wall Street to write songs, and he wrote two of my favourites, this one and also Out of Nowhere. Now, this tune has some interesting moves, particularly in the B section. We're in the key of D flat. We move up a semitone to D, then we move down a tone to C, then we move back to D flat, but we'll get onto all of that later. Check the description for a link to the chord shapes and the chart for a PDF. Here's the chart on the screen. We are in AABA form, you know, your typical form for this era, the swing era. And I've written the first two A sections with the first time and second time bar, as you can see there. So I think what I'll do, I'll play through the chords first of the A section, and then we'll talk about what's going on. There's the first time bar, then back to the beginning. Second time bar. Second time bar, clearly taking us somewhere. So we got 5 flats. So let's reference the circle of fifths and check what key that is. So that is the key of D flat. Guitar player's favourite key, right? So the chords in D flat, if we just harmonise them in sevenths, just think about that first. D flat major 7, E flat minor 7, F minor 7, G flat major 7, A flat 7, B flat minor 7, C minor 7 flat 5, back to D flat major 7. Now looking at the chart with that knowledge, we don't start on chord 1. And it's quite an unsettled start actually, I think, on this particular tune. So first 4 bars, we start on chord 2, E flat minor, then we go to B flat 7 flat 9. Now you could just play B flat 7 if this chord's too difficult for you with the thumb over, as you'll see on my chord shapes, you could just play B flat 7, it will suffice, but I think it's nice to get that flat 9 in there. So we're going E flat minor 7 chord 2 to chord 6, which would normally be B flat minor 7 in this key, but as a dominant. Why? Because it's the dominant of E flat minor, which when we go back to E flat minor in bar 2, we can then do a 2-5 to A flat, and then resolve to D flat. Now this is D flat 6-9. You might see people here play D flat major 7. These earlier swing tunes, I usually play 6 or 6-9 chords for myself personally. I prefer the sound of it. I think it's more typical of the era, but you could play D flat major 7 there. But that's our chord 1, okay? Just so happens to be voiced as a 6-9. So we land on chord 1 finally in bar 3. You listen to the first 3 bars again, you'll hear that. This is tense. Resolves here, there, but quickly we move away. We move a 4th to chord 4, G flat 7. Now, chord 4 should be, in this key, it should be G flat major 7 or G6, G flat 6, sorry. We've got a dominant instead, like the blues really. And then we're going to go chord 3, F minor 7, then the cool sound of the flat 3 diminished, I love that, so the 3 going down to a flat 3 diminished, falling into a 2 chord. We're back with E flat minor 7. Now the next chord, that E flat minor 7 slash D flat, is a 2 chord, you know, E flat minor 7, but with the 7th in the bass. Again, if you find that tricky, just play a bar of E flat minor 7. But it just gives you a walk down, E flat, D flat, the next chord C, so it just gives a nice move in the bass if you do play it. We then get to that C minor 7 flat 5, which is chord 7, out of key chord. Next, F7, which is I've written as the 5 of 6, so it's the 5 of the next chord, the dominant of the next chord, so a secondary dominant. Going to B flat minor 7 chord 6, then we get the 2-5, E flat minor 7, A flat 7, that's chord 1. We go, then on that first time bar we go back to B flat 7 flat 9. Again, that's a secondary dominant because it's the dominant of E flat minor or E flat major, and it takes us back to start again, which works pretty well. We then go back and do it all again, then skip the first time bar, hit the second time bar, which chord 1, then we get E minor 7, A7, which hopefully you recognise as a 2-5 from the key of D. So this is where we go up a semitone. here's the B section on the screen. Let me play it through for you first. So. Lots of chords there. Line 2. Then we're back to the beginning. Well, back to the A section, sorry, for the final wave. Start out on D6 line, which is chord 1. We're in D major now. So we moved up a semitone. Then we go to chord 2, E minor 7. Then we go to D/F sharp, which is the D chord, or the 1 chord in first inversion, just as a plain major chord. So 1, 2, chord 1, and then we get G minor 7, C7, which is a 2/5 from the key of F. So interesting out of key bit there. Some here. Then we get these 4 chords. Chord 3, F sharp minor 7, chord 6, B minor 7, chord 2, E minor 7, A7 chord 5, resolving to chord 1. So the first line of the B section is in D major, apart from those 2 chords G minor 7 and C7, which are out of key. Now, when we hit the second line of the B section, D minor 7, G7, I'm sure you know that as a 2/5 in the key of C, and we have moved to the key of C, so we've moved down a tone. So D minor 7, G7, resolving to C, but we're going to do it in first inversion so we get a nice move in the bass. C/E, then flat 3 diminished, which is there, lovely. So 2, 5, chord 1 in first inversion, then the flat 3 diminished, which is a really common move in a lot of these swing numbers. We do another 2/5 in the key of C, D minor 7, G7. Then we've got these 3 dominant chords, da, 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 ending on a B flat 7, because the chord in the A section at the start is E flat minor 7, so that's the 5 of E flat minor 7. We can then do another A section, which is the same as earlier. Now, here's the chords once through, close up viewed, so you can see the movements more easily. So there's a lot of chords in this one. It's not the easiest to maybe solo over, but I think it's one of those beautiful ballads that's a real staple of most jazz musicians' repertoire. One of the real iconic ballads. I think if you had a top 10 list of ballads, this would definitely have to be in there. So one you want to know. As ever, you need to listen to versions. Just 2 I'd recommend. Coleman Hawkins' version set this whole trend of this being a popular song off. And also a contemporary version by Tony Bennett and Amy Winehouse. That's quite cool. Don't forget to get the chord shapes and the chart, the PDFs available, link in the description. There's also a link to my Buy Me a Coffee if you want to say thanks for today's lesson. Any questions, any comments, you leave them below. Jazz guitar lessons every Wednesday and every Saturday. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. Hit that like button, and until next time, you take care.